Hello, everybody, welcome. Rosa's like investigator, hello, huh. Everybody, welcome. Rosa's like investigator. So, guys, I am recording the second video of today. The first video was about Mark Rutte visiting the White House today and the Ukraine situation and whether NATO can do something about removing Trump. Today, this video, I'm used to saying today because I would only do the video a day. So this is new, but I enjoy this, guys, because it limits me. As you know, it allows me to both get in depth into a subject, but also not change, right? Not have to cover every single thing. So that's both freeing and probably for you, as far as I've read in the comments, it's more uh it's easier for you to follow. That's what I understand. So thank you for watching. And if you haven't, please subscribe and add a like. Okay, so let's go straight to this information of today. So a few days ago, or I think last week, it came out that the Dutch intelligence stopped sharing, limited intelligence that it was sharing, what it is sharing with the US. Okay, so let's read this. This is from Ukraine's newspaper. This was in a lot of places, different places, but I picked this one here to read. Netherlands limits intelligence sharing with US amid politicization, Russia fears. The intelligence chiefs also warned that Russia is escalating its hostile activities as it intensifies its hybrid war with Europe, necessitating a more assertive response to Moscow. It's funny, he looks so Dutch, this guy. The Netherlands has become more cautious about sharing intelligence with the US over fears it could be politicized or used to help Russia, according to the heads of Dutch civilian and military intelligence. The remarks came in a joint interview with Dutch outlet De Volkskrant with Erik Akkerboom, Director General of the AIVD Domestic Intelligence Service, and Peter Riesink, Director of the MIVD Military Intelligence Agency. Akkerboom and Riesink indicated in the comments published on Saturday that sharing intelligence about Russia with the US may be dealt with on a case-by-case basis in future as a more wary climate talk takes hold in the US President Donald Trump's second term. That will be weighed, Riesink said in response to a question about whether the US would be made party to Russia-related information in cases where it was uncertain what would happen with it. It's true that we make that assessment and sometimes we don't share things anymore, he said when asked if military intelligence services are more reluctant to exchange findings. We don't judge what we see politically, but we look at our experiences with these services, and we are very alert to the politicization of our intelligence and to human rights violations. Sometimes you have to think case by case. Can I still share this information or not? It was a rare admission of concern among European allies about Trump's attitude towards intelligence, as well as the mercurial leader's frequent pivots on Russia. Riesnik told the Volkskrant that it was a source of great sadness when Trump fired National Security Agency Chief Timothy Ho in April. We knew the man well, he said. Ho was allegedly sacked due to his loyalty to the US president, according to the US media reports. As a Biden appointee, General Ho had no place serving in the Trump admin, given the fact that he was handpicked by General Milley, who was accused of committing treason by President Trump. Far-right activist Laura Loomer claimed on X at the time. Russia is learning from the war in Ukraine. Resnick and Ackerbaum also spoke at length about fears that Russia is using its experience in Ukraine to prepare for an expansion of the conflict with Europe. We see on the Russian side that they are learning very quickly from the war they are waging with Ukraine and have innovated enormously. They are making plans to strengthen and expand their Army, Navy, and Air Force, and they are capable of doing so despite their current losses. They're not making these plans because they want to defeat Ukraine, because that is going quite well for Russia as it is now. the military intelligence chief claimed. I'd also like to add the Russian perspective. For them, it's not just about Ukraine, but specifically about the conflict with the West. Yes, and it's important to emphasize Ukraine is fighting our fights. Russia is therefore tied to the fight there. This is a double-edged sword. It's not in a position to start a fight against NATO now, but it can learn from the current fight and see what's needed on the battlefields. This gives Russians, for example, a platform in their relationship with China, which can use this kind of information for its own military development. The heads of civilian and military intelligence said they face myriad threats in their work, including Russian aggression, Chinese espionage, and erratic and volatile US right-wing extremism, and more. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll add the link to the timestamps. Okay, and then I wanted, okay, let's see. Let me just introduce these two things, okay? A reminder that Dutch intelligence had access to the room of the computer hackers as they were hacking the DNC in 2016, okay? Cozy Bear, here it is. Hackers working for the Dutch National and General Intelligence Security Service penetrated the computers used by the group, often nicknamed Cozy Bear, in mid-2014 and watched them for at least a year, even managing to catch the hackers on camera. So it goes, they have a lot of information about what Russians have done here, right? And they have shared this information more than like, than our own intelligence, because never forget, and I will never forget. Reality Winner spent 5 years in prison because she was a contractor working for the NSA, I think it was. She accessed documents that said that Russia had accessed uh, voter voting something, the voting systems, right? She shared that with Glenn Greenwald's newspaper, and Glenn Greenwald was productive, and they ratted her out, basically, okay? And there she went to prison. And so when you think about it, it still is a mystery, right? Why this information, why it's not talked about. It's a really a serious flaw in the US, and that's how we ended up here, because it's not discussed, right? And so I think that, again, I don't want to get into this because I can talk about this for hours. It's very upsetting how this is not talked about. It should be talked about more. It's a huge, right? And then it's like, oh no, we can't talk about it. We can't talk about it. So there we are. They have to investigate this further, and it's not being investigated, right? So especially now. But here we are. Now, the last introductory piece of information I have for you today is the person who's going to be our guest from the other side. I thought of her, honestly, right before we started talking today. And I feel like she's here. She's here. She passed recently. Her name is Sandy. Her name is Sandra Grimes, aka Sandy Grimes. And I have learned of her because I watched a lot of documentaries about Aldrich Ames. Aldrich Ames was a CIA officer who was arrested and is in a high security prison in the US. And he helped Russian intelligence a lot. And it was her who caught him. She and a team, a team of people in the CIA, uh, unmasked him. Okay, so and she knows that he got people killed. Um, all James, right? So it's a good person to ask about if she has information about what's going on, right? And the whole intelligence world. She knows all about that. But let's get started with the questions. Okay, the question is why is that has Dutch intelligence not is not sharing? Why did they make the decision? Okay, what do they know? Why is Dutch intelligence not sharing information with the US? What do they know? So it's saying that there is information about people inside with high level jobs, and I'm seeing that guy Gore, Sergio Gore, Boris, the other guy, Boris something. Remember him, Boris Epstein, not Epstein, Epstein, who reports that he has an actual, still has a Russian passport. He's an American citizen. He came here as a child or a young teenager, but has been working for Trump for a long time, right? Another Russian. And it's saying that there's people that they have information on that are sharing. They know that they're sharing information with Russia. And and they know that they have shared these, those things. They share something and then they find out it's in the information. They catch Russians sharing information that they had shared with the US. Like, so somehow they know that it's anything very sensitive can't be trusted, right? As saying, oh, especially the documents case. Oh, and it's saying that it's possible that Jack Smith may have shared were their own. I mean, again, I don't know how, how much he knows what's up with Trump and the documents he has stolen and who Jack Smith knows a lot about the documents, and of course he worked there. And I think he has spoken to intelligence agencies, at least as a means to prevent. No, he needs to say he needs to save himself also. The more he shares, the safer he is, Jack Smith, right? Not, I think some of it they have. Others is a human intelligence or human, so it's like he's not allowed to share some of the things, but others he has shared with them, right? And so it's too dangerous. It's really too dangerous here. And they know that there's people that have identified in the past as working for the Russian intelligence on many levels. And I get the face of David Sachs, actually, the guy, the finance guy. Several people like that they're deep within the heart of the administration. They're handling money, and they know that Russians do money laundering. So it's on many levels, it's dangerous to share information with them. So, okay, so that's why. And they don't want to put themselves at risk at all. And especially if anything has to do with their own, inside their own country or even Europe. They're very aware of now. Europe has like reconnected and come together stronger because of the Ukraine war and Trump's attacks on Zelensky. Okay. So so this is the broad understanding here. So let me show. So then I did cards, of course. I think, and some people say, oh, some people like cards, others don't. I think cards help me really, and they kind of open up for me because then I continue with visions, and it's a back and forth. Okay, so I asked many questions like why is it that they feel like it's I was saying it's almost the same country because there's people in very high levels is saying they're saying who are doing the bidding of Russia in a way or another. And they're sharing information. It's saying, Rosie, intelligence is really about information. That's what it is about sharing information. Look at what Doge did, what Elon Musk's people did. They went in, they sucked out all this information. They share, and they're pointing to the Starlink thing on the roof, remember? And they've shared almost everything with Russians. So they have so much information about the US that they can use it in so many ways. So they know that information is not safe because they have stolen a lot of information, a lot of private information about American citizens, about American programs, and put it in this like very insecure database. So it's saying, they're saying it will have been the most successful intelligence operation because they stole the American presidency and they have all the American secrets, they're saying. Okay. Well, I don't know how I feel about this. I guess, I'm just being in this folks being used your thing out, but when I listen to what I'm saying, it's shocking. So, okay. So let me share with you what I got here as far as cards, and then Sandy's gonna jump in and talk. Okay, so the first question is why Dutch intelligence is not sharing information with the USA. why Dutch intelligence is not sharing information with you. Okay, so here we have Four of Cups. It's an offer. And it's this card, when it's upright, is like an offer that a person may not want to take it. This is an organization, and then wealth. Now, this also means branches of the government, or broadly speaking, right? Okay, this is wealth or so good luck. The sun upside down, something is going to come out about. The man here is Trump, obviously, right? This is a card of theft. So shady information comes out, or they have information about his theft. The Hermit upside down is a person who's isolated, who's sort of closed. To me, it feels like it's the spies who are deep within, right? They're kind of in and deep within that we can't quite find them. They're hidden, right? What's the word? Covert. Ring a deal. They recognize they have a deal, so they have a connection, right? They have a. That's what I feel like it was about. What I just talked about before. Those people deep within that they have recognized as being long-term Russian assets, that they have discovered that even before this administration came on. And they're telling me, Rosie, remember that, of course, this Trump's era has been going on for almost 10 years now. So this is how long it has been going on. And it started truly in 2015 when there were the data hacks and all those things. Okay, so, okay. The other question is, what does Dutch intelligence know about Trump and the Trump administration? Now, this is a little eerie here because we have the Page of Swords is definitely a card that signifies spies. So we have twice the coffin. So I think it's interesting because both being coffin, I wonder if it could mean that they know of deaths of spies because of it. But it is saying it tells me this, that what it means is that the information is so negative that it's a no, it's like a no-no, a no-no. We know of that the spies are infiltrated, it's a no-no. Then we have your deal, that again, a card. And when I was talking about the other one, you also had a ring card as a deal, similar to the Two of Cups. A deal, people talking, and oh, that's right, people talking. So they caught people talking about a deal, and they're really, really worried. Then we have the Knight of Wands. It's something when it's a reverse, it's like using aggression in a overt, in a too aggressive, too thuggish. It could be something like this, right? Energy in the wrong direction. A woman, and the woman leaving, right? Could be arrival or departure, or far or foreign. So to me, it feels like people have talked about their role in the election. That's what I think. Okay, the woman. You could maybe say, oh, what about the, as I said in the earlier video, could it be the Epstein situation? I still don't. Uh, I don't think it is. Okay. So so that's that. It's whatever it is, it's really they have total evidence that the administration is bought and completely owned by Russia in a way or another. And that Russia, because it's saying even if there's not right now, the money is coming from whatever, Saudi Arabia or whatever, whoever, Qatar. The fact is that Russia has the information from Elon Musk. Okay, let me actually ask here. Okay, before I get to this, there's just so much in my brain kind of explode. So what is the Dutch intelligence? Do they know? Yes, they have information about how the Doge thing was a way to siphon data out of the government and into Russian allies. So yes, so they have that information, yes. Okay. All right. So okay, and then I had to ask this question because that is the ultimate question. It's about the election, right? So here is where the info about Seoul election will come from. Since I was talking about NATO, Route, and then Dutch intelligence, and they had so much information about the last election. That's the question that came to me. So where is information about the stolen election coming from? So here we have the woman, angry woman, something done to the woman. Here it is, a letter in the courts. Then we have justice upside down, treachery. There's a right? And then worry. Then we have the lovers. It's a deal. News about the shady deal, right? And the man with money. I wonder that if this could be Elon Musk, right? And he has this letter. So so does it make sense as a miscarriage of justice? Um, and still, honestly, I have a hard time believing that it will be the courts that will share the information. I think it could be the wealthy guy. The news here, the horse here, the writer is the news coming, and it's coming when the lovers, the relationship sours, a relationship sours, and the wealthy man comes out with information. So, okay, so now let's go to asking the questions with visions. I did that. Okay, and then let's talk to Sandy. So let's see here if there's anything else about visions that I need to sit in to talk about. What do they know? You say, how is that? Where is the information about selection coming from to the greater public? Still see Elon Musk. But I see Trump will, because I think the situation with the military is likely to happen. Um, Trump will push all the way to the edge, and then this information may come out after that, but not before. Because I think, don't you think, as long as Trump is in power and they're in power, they're not going to let this come out, no matter what, right? I don't think so. So anyway, so now let's talk to Sandra Grimes here, as I talked about her before. So let's see. Okay, let me share here the photo of her. Okay, so Sandy, what is going on? What do you see here? That's right. So let's see. What do you see about um okay, let's see. So what do you see about Dutch intelligence not sharing information and everything but happening in the intelligence agencies? Really, it breaks my heart, Rosie. When I first got Ames, he was like a tiny insect, a tiny bit of cancer, and now it has spread. But the good news is that it's easy to trace. I'm being shown the image of a. Have you ever seen the ant houses? People pour. Have you seen when they pour something, wax or something inside those ant houses, and it comes out perfectly? They could see how the ants designed the hole. It's a giant thing, but it's also easy to trace. That's what I'm saying. They will have to be banished from this country forever, and they have to be held at a very high security prison, like a Guantanamo of sorts. Yes. So, Sandy, what do you see about how this will be accomplished? Because for those of us here observing this, many millions of people in America now are desperate, right? Because say we're desperate, but it's really mind-boggling how could this have happened, and why did it come to this? Why did it go so far? How could this be? How could this happen? Thousand thousand paper cuts. They did it very deliberately. They knew who to target, they knew how to target. Then the corruption started rolling out. Okay, so how is this going to end? Because we need an ending. From your perspective, how how do you see things developing? And what's happening right now as what you can see happening in the so-called deep state, in the military? What do they have on Trump? What's going on with Trump? How he falls? They have information on him and how the election was stolen. Many countries have this information. Elon himself wasn't careful about it, so much so that his own son is repeating it. He talked about it so often that the child knew, and the child remembered and repeated it. So it's not secure at all. Okay, so what else, Sandy? How is this going? So Trump is erratic. His mind, She's showing me kind of like a picture of his brain is collapsing. He doesn't have full control of his faculties, and he's already in an advanced stage where he's losing control of his body. Like he's, his pee and poo, whatever, he needs to wear diapers all the time. He forgets things. His body is not responding so well to movements. Like when, he's just slow. And there's also heart issues. Okay, so now what is going on? I see. She's saying that they're squeezing him with the Epstein information. Russia is under a lot of pressure. He's going to push the military to do what he wants. But doesn't he want to turn the US into some sort of military state, like a super ultra authoritarian state, like a Stalinist version of China, something like that? But he may want this to happen because he needs to silent dissent, but they have seen the protests. They know that they just simply cannot stop millions, 3 million, 4 million people, 5 million people. How are they going to stop these people? Are they going to put everybody in prison? It's not going to work. And so they know that is an impossibility to a degree. They can't quite do it. A lot of those people that aren't in his administration are ideologues. They have theories and concepts, but the things they want to do have never been done. And these are the very things America was built on, right? No kings, right? And it's really not likely. They cannot do it. They will not. They're disorganized. That's not what the population is. They lack the resources. They lack the manpower. Yet theoretically, if they have more and more power, they could try to trigger something like this, but it's not going to work. They know they are getting the message that it's not working and it's not going to work, but they're stealing so much money. Yes, but they're going to have to leave the country or be arrested for good. Okay, Sandy, a lot of people ask me, how is it possible? Because we're not seeing it yet. A lot of significant changes in the world were not seen until they happened. Nobody thought that America would lose the war in Vietnam. It happened. Nobody thought that 9/11 could happen. It happened. All these different things that seem impossible because they had never happened. Even January 6th, it has never happened, had never happened. Just because you have never seen something, it doesn't mean it will not happen. So keep the faith. Remember what matters. Remember the truth that you know. The most important thing is that nobody should be persuaded by their arguments or their realities, the realities they live, or the things they tell us. 99% of it is a lie. Don't go by what they say. Keep the faith. Trust what you see inside. Trust and double check, triple check everything you hear. Okay, but still tell us about how he's going to be removed. So under a lot of pressure, I see like she shows me this pressure, like metal press on top of Trump about the Epstein. That's the thing that triggers him because the truth about who he is could be revealed. And he starts making a lot of mistakes because he knows it's about, wow, I see he poops on his pants. He gets really, really fearful because Putin is threatening him. And eventually it starts coming out. And I see Putin telling him, it's like, yes, you have to do it. You have to help us, help Russia. We help you. We could do anything. Like Putin really manipulating Trump. And that's when the military has to step in and stop the joke. And it's saying the military and other agencies in other countries are afraid of Trump because of his connection to the popular support, even though nobody believes he really won the election straight. He does have many followers. The same is not true with JD Vance. With JD Vance, they know that he's just riding with Trump, but he's not popular at all, even among Republicans. So they don't consider him to be a threat, meaning if something happens to Trump, it's much easier to get him removed because nobody, it's like, oh geez, JD Vance was part of the crime. But if it doesn't make sense, the reaction to it is not that big because he's not a very convincing person. He's very, very unlikable um, among his own people, among his own people that know him, that have to deal with him. So that's how it is. Yes, the deep state will take it down. We have been under attack, Rosie, and that's something they have not discussed with the American public, but it will come out after the fact. So, Sandy, do you see Kamala? Yes, she won the election. She will come when the time is due because that's right. She won the election. That's right. She's saying, you're right, Rosie. All those people who say, but she doesn't, that's not true. Who are they to say? She won. It's up to her to decide. Of course, and really, because Sandra, you know that I get annoyed and offended when people say, well, but she doesn't really want it, just because it's racist, Rosie, right? Because it's if you were a man, we know he had one, we would never assume that he doesn't want it. Of course she does. And I've been to her lectures and I heard her say it, right? It's obvious she does not act like a person who doesn't have plans. Or it's like, oh, I'm just tired. No, it's not her. That's right. But they have to clear them out. She can't do anything herself. She can't be the one who says, let's do it, let's fight. No. All of this has to happen and be done by others. And she steps in once it's all cleared. Okay, but that's a second phase. Well, that's not, we don't have to worry about it now. So that's right. So anything else? Thank you for this. It's a bit shocking, to be honest, to observe this from where I am. I knew there were terrible things happening. I didn't know they were quite as bad from what I can see here, meaning that it's everything you expect, meaning it's everything you're saying and more. But the good news, if there's such a thing, is that they will be dismantled. They will be removed, and it will be a very different situation than transferring one election to the other. All right. It will have to be treated like a criminal event. And so we are capable of that. Trust it and have faith. Okay, so would you see anything coming? Like what do we need to know? Do we need to know anything? It's unprecedented, Rosie. Keep the faith. The important thing is to not be afraid and to not be guided by whatever comes out of these people's mouths. There's a lot happening that you're not seeing, and trust that. Trust the unseen, because things that are seen are made from things that are not seen. I think it's Saint Augustine. I just said it. So, all right. So thank you, Sandy, and have a good evening where you are. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So that was interesting. Wow, very interesting. Okay. All right. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay? Okay. Bye bye.